Yesterday was probably one of the saddest days of my life. I said goodbye to my big single turbo RX-7 FD3S, and now I'm about to make the pre-sale walk-around video for my R32 GTR. I never wanted to sell these cars. I never wanted to leave the country. I never once felt not safe in this country until the civil unrest that happened 800 meters line of sight. The majority of it happened down the road. I need to sell everything, liquidate, make sure that my kids are safe in the future. I'm mentioning this again because I keep getting asked in almost every single with every single vehicle that I've put up for sale. That's why I'm mentioning it again now. Black RX-7 is getting picked up in the next 20 minutes. There's all the paperwork, change of ownership, logbook, all that stuff. Things are just getting worse. The cars are going like this, and I haven't even advertised them on like your Gumtrees, OLXs, all that sort of stuff. I did the silver RX-7 for a day on there, but yeah, crazy. Anyway, let's take a look at this. This is a fake smile. I don't want to sell the car. It is what it is. I'm going to try to be as honest as possible because I don't like to bullshit anybody. This is my R32 GTR. I imported it in 2013, which means it's been registered for 7 years. It's been in the country for 8 years. That means that it is legal to sell in the Republic of South Africa. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of writing on the car. This is plastic up. That means it can be removed. The car underneath is silver. We'll get into the paintwork stuff in a sec. It's not the cleanest. It would need a respray. It's I mean, it's a 1993. It's an old vehicle. There's some paint issues, but we'll dive into them in a sec. So with regards to what's done, the car's got 17-inch wheels, 245, 45, 17 all around. It's sitting on some gorgeous P1 racing wheels. With regards to the brakes, it's still got the stock calipers on it. It's using EBC green stuff pads. The front discs are cross-drilled, and so are the rear discs. They're also cross-drilled. Rear calipers are stock as well. They've been painted yellow. That came like that from Japan. And then on the underside of the car, it still has high CAS. I don't think it works. The high CAS light just stays on all the time. Not a big deal. Everybody hates high CAS anyway and throws lockout bars or removes the entire system. Mine just has the light on. I don't feel any difference. The car runs. The four-wheel steering works as far as I know, or as far as I felt before. There are some Tane coilovers on the car all around. They're fully adjustable. You can do height, you can do stiffness. They seem to be fine. I've had no issues with them. They're very stiff. The car doesn't move if you try and bounce it. It's rock solid. Underneath there are some Nismo bits. I forget what exactly. I do have some pictures. I'll throw them up on the screen now. There's some Nismo bits underneath. So that is it on the suspension and wheel side. Let's take a quick look at the interior before we dive into the rest of the car. I haven't, I'll be honest, had a chance to vacuum or wash the car. I literally just hit it with a hose pipe, and I'm carrying it. I've been so damn busy with everything else. Seats are stock. This is what you call the cold weather package. And by the way, I have every single bit of documentation from this car back from when it was imported. I know exactly what spec. I have auction sheets. I've got the works. Every single thing that you need, much like the other cars that I've sold. The cold weather package had these type of like bluish seats, and it had a couple of other little things that I completely forgot about now, but it's all documented on the internet. The gear knob on the car, that's a Rizo gear knob. Over here we have an Apexi Power FC, and that is the hand controller for it, so it's basically a controller for the ECU. This car only has good parts in it. That's an Apexi boost cage, original Apexi boost cage, 60mm. Over here we have an HKS EVC5 boost controller with digital display. This little panel here was made by myself. That was actually the template that I used, and it was a cardboard template that I wrapped, so it's actually kind of sinking in a little bit. I was supposed to cut out masonite and then do that, and then I thought, you know, I don't have time for that, and I'm busy filming other stuff for my YouTube. Never got around to changing that, so that should actually be changed so it doesn't sink in a little bit. You can see it's sunken in slightly there. Just like cosmetic stuff. Over here I've got an original Works Bell quick lift or quick flip up steering wheel. So the steering wheel hub is pretty cool. So if you want to get out of the car, if there's a fire or something and you've got to get out quick, just pull on here, boom, jump out the car, and that's it. And it sits like that. Pretty cool, huh? And then locked. Now it doesn't come out. This is an original Momo race wheel, came from Japan like that. There is a boost gauge over here. The plan was to get an AEM wideband and throw it over there. The boost gauge is just there as a placeholder. It doesn't actually work. It popped a little while ago. That's why I've got that 60mm boost gauge on that side. Honestly speaking, the wiring was all done by myself. I would probably re-look at the wiring. I'm not the greatest auto electrician around. I'm not the greatest at anything, to be honest. Take a look at the wiring. It's done the way I thought was right. I don't know. Stuff works. What else? Everything else is pretty much neat on the interior. There's no tears in the seats. They're not creased. Okay, there's a small little crease over here. I mean, everything looks fantastic. The door cards are neat. Everything is clean. I mean, it needs a vacuum, needs a wash. But the car is really, really decent. These mats are old. I'll tell you that much. These are the original Skyline mats. You can see there's a tear on there. Underneath, they're falling apart, they're cracking. But again, these mats are, what's 1993? That's like 28 years ago. It's old. Pedals still have the original Nissan covers. That footrest over there is missing the cover. It never came from Japan. Oh, and I've got a Greddy turbo timer over there. And then this over here is actually the fan switch. I've got an electric fan on the car. It's not that efficient. There used to be a viscous fan. It sounded horrible. I changed the radiator and I put this electric fan on. I kind of regret doing that. It's about 5 degrees plus minus warmer with an aftermarket radiator. So I would recommend whoever gets the car, whoever buys it, go back to a viscous fan. Let's take a look at the engine modifications and whatnot. You can see the silver shining through. So the plasti dip is 2016. 2016 I had the plasti dip, and it's held up really well. It's actually pretty neat. There's a video on my YouTube channel called what does my plasti dip look like? Something like that. Just before we get to the engine bay, I just noticed this now. There's a tear on here. It's not that serious. I actually didn't even know it had this issue. So yeah, there's a tear over there. Interior wise, I don't see any other issues. I haven't noticed anything. All the clips are intact, like cubbyhole, etc. Everything works. Everything's clean. The leather's clean. Like I said, the seats are clean. The rear seats are in. Everything looks good. Electric windows work. The aircon still works, by the way. The aircon is strong. It's pretty much stronger than my Lexus air conditioner. Before we dive into the engine, let's take a look at this, and then you can really see there's a few little issues with regards to bodywork. We'll dive into that after. But there is a huge intercooler here. And what intercooler is this? This is an original Greddy Trust intercooler. See over there, it says Trust. The intercooler goes all the way from the bottom here, all the way to the top. It's massive. It's not a small intercooler, and it's thick as well. Ooh, engine bay is a little bit dusty. What have we got here? We've got an aftermarket radiator. That radiator is pretty thick, it's pretty big, and there's an electric fan that's underneath the shroud that I had to modify to actually get to work. So it's cut over there, and then the bottom still has most of the stuff intact, but there's an electric fan inside here, and it works, but it's not as efficient as the viscous. So I would recommend go back to the viscous. Over here I've got my HKS Super Power Flow intakes. It's still running on MAFs. The turbos, I was told from Japan that they are the N1 turbos. So I'm not sure. I don't know if they're ceramic wheeled or if they're N1s. I have been pretty careful with regards to boost. I've never gone past 1.05 bar boost. There was one issue. I think there was a boost pipe that popped off and the car shot up to 1.5, 1.6 bar for like 2 seconds, and that was it. So being as honest as possible here, turbos are fine, the car is fine. Have a listen to this clip. The car sounds demonic at 1.05, making some decent power. So the power that you just saw in that vid, the butt dyno, my butt dyno, tells me roughly around 330 to 340 kilowatts. It dynoed at 303 kilowatts back in 2014, 2015, whatever it is on the screen. Really good curve, smooth power, and that was at 1 bar without the boost controller, without the downpipe, and without a couple other small things. So I've got full custom downpipe. It's two 76mm custom downpipes going into 88mm pipe all the way back to a Kakimoto backbox. I'll show you the backbox in a minute. With regards to the intake system, it's all completely stock except for this aluminium pipe over here. Decent look, needs a polish. Radiator hoses are done. There's a Grady oil catch can. I'm not too happy with it. I would probably go back to stock. I actually might just change it back to stock myself and just include it in the sale of the car. But it puffs quite a bit out of here and it's not so pleasant. I know you're supposed to put one of these things in, and because of COVID I just haven't gotten out to go and buy that sort of stuff. I might just plumb it back to normal. It seems to be a little bit healthier. You may notice the battery is no longer here. It's been relocated to the boot. So there's my battery terminal. I would probably change the battery terminal to something that looks better. I mean, it works, but it's a Star Sound one. It's from AutoStyle. I don't know. It's got 0 gauge cable, thick cable that's run all the way to the back, through the firewall, through the wheel arch, then firewall, all the way through to the back of the car. And that's working. I've got no issues with it. I've never had. And then there's some wiring over here that I would have loved to have cleaned up, but I never got around to doing it. This is the wiring here with a Bosch relay that's doing the switching for the electric fan. There's a switch in the interior, but it runs through the relay and it switches the fan on and off. So here's the air conditioning pump, power steering, everything is on the vehicle. There's LED lights in the front. The controllers for them are at the bottom. There's one, and then the other one is tucked away somewhere here with the lights. The car still has these stock actuators. You can kind of see it over there. There we go, now you can see it. Stock actuators, but I've changed all the vacuum hoses because the vacuum hoses obviously become brittle over time. Those are all changed, and they're all red silicone high quality vacuum hoses. New T-pieces, all that sort of stuff, running obviously to the new solenoid. The engine bay itself is average. The paint is a little bit discolored. Funny enough, this is my only vehicle that has discolored paint, and it's the most expensive vehicle and the most modified. The only one that has discolored paint in the engine bay. It's so weird. Let's take a quick look at the exhaust. So here it is. This is a Kakimoto back box. It's quite a big boy. I mean, there's 88mm pipe that's running all the way back into this, and its stock supports 88mm 3.5 inch. Okay, let's talk about paint and issues, and I'm going to be showing a couple videos, flashbacks and that sort of stuff, because I'm not going to be pulling this plastic off. I don't have time to pull it off. It's just not going to happen. But the paint underneath is not fantastic in certain areas, and I'll show you where exactly. Okay, so first of all, starting off with the bumper. The bumper had some issues. So this number plate is stuck on a double-sided tape. So just behind here, it's still silver. There was some scrapage over here. I knocked this car, like not knocked, I literally just scraped it. I think there's a video. If there is, it's popping up on your screen. I tapped it into a wall in like 2015-ish. Into a wall in my garage, and it scraped. And you can see underneath the plastic dip, there's a couple little scrape marks. That would need to be filled, that would need to be sanded, resprayed. Plastic dip is torn over there. There's the silver peeking right through. That over there came all mangled and messed from Japan. I haven't tried to repair it. I haven't done anything to it. Here, I mean, this car just sits in the back burner, and I work on my other projects. The bumper was cut over there to fit the radiator. It wasn't, sorry, the intercooler. It wasn't cut and fitted too nicely, and that was done from Japan, which is rather annoying to see something like that, especially on an N1 bumper. That being said, N1 bumper, there's the 2 holes for it. Then, with regards to the rest of the paint, From what I remember, the bonnet was clean, the doors were clean, mirrors were clean, there wasn't any clear coat damage around here, except for this panel over here. Right here there was some weird discoloration. I'm hoping I can get it in some old pictures or an old video. But over here, it felt like something underneath the clear coat. And it was kind of like white. Maybe it was clear coat. I don't remember. It was a couple of years ago. There was an issue there. The rest of the paint was alright over here until we get to the rear boot area. So I fitted this Nismo N1 lip in the back. The fitment was terrible. Like really, truly terrible. I often don't show the rear of the car because of that. With the heat and the sun, it actually lifted up. So now there's a gap over here, and now you can see the glue that I used to hold it down, which was like some sort of silicone glue. By the way, I just hosed the car down, so there's still a little bit of water everywhere, here and there. So this actually lifted up, and it's no longer flush with the bodywork. But anyway, if you're going to pull the plastic lip off, you need to take that off. The boot, however, was in not great condition. The wing was good, the wing was fine. The paintwork around here was okay, but over here, this area, and over here, weird. There's an old video I was pulling off the Nissan badge in the back over here, which I no longer have, just by the way. Weird issues over here with the paint, like indents, like cutouts. Like it would need to be resprayed and filled. No rust damage, no issues like that. This car has never had rust, to my knowledge. From Japan, and while it's been here, the car has been fantastic. I know I've seen stuff like Calvin Marley in the States. He's got massive rust damage. This is not one of those cars. This was a top, really good spec back in the day. Picked up really early, before the hype and before people started actually screwing everyone over for money. That being said, this entire boot lid would need to be sorted out, sanded, sprayed, all that jazz. Just underneath here, it doesn't look so great either. Some weird paint discoloration and whatnot. I wasn't impressed with that. I ran a Wangan Midnight sticker, a huge one over here, to like kind of mask all the crap that was in the back of the car. It's dirty, there's a lot of dust in the back. I feel bad not having the time to actually wash it, but things are going a little bit crazy my end. Paint issues on this side I think were okay. I don't really remember. I know the door handle was an issue, and it still is an issue. So you can see here on the door handle, a little bit wet, sorry. Can you see that? It's like all raised over here, weird, and then over there. So the pasty dip has masked it a little bit, but there were touch-ups over here. I'm assuming the guy had long fingernails, whoever owned the car in Japan, and when he was opening the door, he kept scratching it, and he damaged the paint over here. So that it came down to like almost primer over here. Annoying. Plastic dip is hidden there. I never fixed these issues before plastic dipping the car, and I do feel bad about it. That's pretty much it to my knowledge on the paint issues, on cosmetic issues that the car has. Mechanically, the engine was running fine. I haven't driven the car since the month prior to the massive lockdown, so there was an issue, and it was documented on my YouTube and a couple of videos, and it was really annoying. This car is an absolute animal beast. The way I had set it up, oh, I forgot something. There's a pretty rare Mines strut brace. This is an original Mines strut brace and an Apexy, what do you call it, radiator cap. A very annoying issue. The intercooler pipes on this side kept popping off. It was the stock, so that side's got hard pipes. This side for some reason still had the stock rubber pipes. The rubber pipe had loosened so much and stretched that no clamp would hold it in place, and it would keep slipping off, which was damn annoying, especially when I needed it when I was in the middle of a race or something, and the pipe would come off and I'd lose boost and the car would just kind of kill itself until it was sorted out. So that happened the month before the 2020 lockdown. As you guys know, I have been distancing myself to protect my family from pretty much everyone. It's also been difficult trying to sell these cars. I've been standing like 10 meters away, and this is also why I'm making all these videos, to try and avoid as much contact as possible with anybody. That pipe blew off a month before. I then couldn't get out to someone to fabricate which was very annoying because I wanted to get some aluminium pipes made up, or even stainless steel pipes made up for the boost pipes. So what I did at home, the only thing I could do is I ordered online some silicon bends and a straight piece, and I'd made a makeshift. Let me see if you can see it on camera. There we go, you can see that. I made a makeshift connector between the intercooler and the rest of the piping that goes into the intake. The problem with that is it's collapsing under boost, which sucks. I don't know what's worse, either blowing off or collapsing on the boost. The car runs, drives perfectly, it starts up in like a heartbeat. I'll start up in a sec. It's really a beautiful machine. It's got low mileage, original mileage, to my knowledge 79,000 Ks. I think that's what it was when it landed from Japan. And now it's sitting with a very low 87,000 kilometers. About 2,000 of those kilometers were done in the last 5 years, and then the other like 6,000 kilometers were done when I lived in Joburg a couple of years ago. When we first got the car, I took it straight up to Joburg because that's where I was living, and then did a couple of trips to Durban, Joburg, and never had an issue with the car other than the flipping boost pipes. And you guys can see everything's documented on my YouTube channel. I've had the boost pipe issue like twice when I was hutful, for the lack of better words, and wanted to sort it out. Lockdown happened and now I'm screwed. So that is the story with the car. It's been, this car means a lot to me. It's very personal. I started writing names on it. I started in you know, respect you guys. You guys have been enjoying this where you get your names written on the car. There's like 3,000 something plus names that I've personally handwritten on each and every panel, except the rear of the car. I never really got quite to the rear. But it pains me to see this car getting sold. We're preparing in case we do need to leave or anything like that, and at least need to have money in the bank and not lying around here. Let me grab the keys. I'll start up now, and then hopefully it goes to a very good home. I'm slightly negotiable. I'm looking at 615,000 Rand. Alright, here we go. So that noise is the electric fan. I always give it about 15 seconds plus minus just to let the fuel pump prime. To switch the fan off, just go over here. Done. But seriously, consider moving to a viscous. That thing's not so great, but it works. Okay, so fuel pump is, in my mind, 100% primed, and then it just starts. Oh, by the way, before I start it, I've got red LEDs. It looks sick. It looks really cool at night. Demonic almost. Are we in neutral? Yes, we're neutral. Let's go. The engine runs so smoothly. I wish you guys could feel this. There's like no vibrations on here at all. Look at my hand is perfectly still. I could probably put a coin on here and I wouldn't move. Like really, nothing's moving. No engine shake, nothing. So if you can see that, like a little bit of smoke that comes out of here. If I close it up, I'll have a little bit of oil on my finger. So I need to get one of those filters, or whoever owns it, either replace it back to stock or change it up. Put a filter on. That's the car. It sounds good. It's always been damn reliable, other than that issue with the intercooler part, which is rather unfortunate. I don't want to get out because of COVID and all that stuff. So that all being said, that is my Skyline R32 GTR, 1993 model. It's officially for sale. 615,000 nearest cash offer. Hit me up on Instagram if you're really keen on buying the car. We'll then take the conversation further offline, possibly on, well, not possibly, we'll do a telephone call if we need to, if you're really interested. But that's my car. Hopefully it goes to a good home. Thanks so much for watching. See you all next one.